that, son. Little frog bass. Get up here. Look at that, son. Yes. Oh my goodness, look at that. Got us little frog bass going. That is so much fun. When they come and explode that frog, there's nothing like it, man. And I'll tell you what, today is gonna be a fun day if they start like that. We just got here. We're out here at Roosevelt Lake. I came up into the tonneau arm, and you can see all this coffee, what I call coffee grounds, back here in the back. And I'll tell you what, that kind of stuff, the key to what I'm doing is try to get up as close as you can to the bank. Maybe make it look like the frog's coming off the bank. I'm using a popping frog. And I'll tell you what, man, that was fun watching him do that. Oh my goodness. You know, people ask me all the time, you know, what kind of frog should I get? A lot of times, I'll tell you what, when topwater's going good, I like, you know, there's two colors I like. Normally when the sun's high and you got clear water, I like that white frog too, but this little black frog with a little green pattern on it, and when I'm pulling it across and some of this junk like I'm throwing it in, this Blitz Lures popping frog is the way to go. They've made this frog where it's not so stiff on top, and it's a soft frog, but yet still firm enough to where the hooks don't penetrate through so much. And I'll tell you what, your hookups are a lot better on this frog than most frogs. This particular frog has a little lip on it like a popper, which is great because, man, when you're in this open water, when you pull it out of the coffee grounds and you can just kind of pop it a few times, let it sit. This isn't something I'm working real fast right now because, you know, a lot of these bass are still spawning. And when they get up there spawning, they're only gonna guard a certain area. So if you can keep it in the area a little bit in the shallow water, pop it off some of this stuff, man, I'm telling you, they can't stand it. And of course, I'm using 65-pound test braid in this stuff because to get them out of some of these trees, we're gonna need that kind of line, you know. My Taipan Frog Series rod is awesome, and just using the Johnny Morris Signature Series reel here, and I'll tell you what, it works out great. I love it. So we're gonna go down through here, see if we can catch a couple fish. I have one little tiny blow up. You're gonna get some little blow ups, and let me tell you something, there's nothing wrong, and I don't have it on the deck right now, but when you get a few of these blow ups, and say they create a hole when they blow up on your bait and they don't quite get it, a lot of times you can take like a Cinco, something weightless, and throw it right back out there in that hole, and that fish will come right around and get it. It's called the 1-2 punch. Great for topwater. Anytime you're throwing topwater, have something ready to follow up with it when you miss the fish. So something I probably will do is pull that out so we can play with that. But this frog fishing is going to be a lot of fun today. We're up in the trees. Let's have some fun at Roosevelt Lake. Ah, got him. Oh, yeah. Little frog bass. Look at that. He just munched that thing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ah, boy, them hooks got him good. Got it. Look at that. He ate that thing. That little guy ate it. Just crushed that bait. We'll get him back in there. Oh my goodness. You know, I was just commenting about when you work your way back in, and if you look, the camera can pan around and look what we just came through, and this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing. A lot of times we're crashing through stuff worse than this, but just coming back into this stuff, and then look how it opens up in here. You have your own little pond. And that's what I was just commenting to the cameraman about was, man, I love coming in here. Feels like you have your own pond going on. That's insane. This frog is awesome. That's 2 for 2 on this dude, and that was a smaller fish. That was a smaller fish. Boy, they're eating it. They're not just, I mean, they're taking it down. The key is, see, I'm working it you gotta work this bait just like a frog would be hopping across the water. You know, pop, 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 kind of make it walk. What's really cool about this is when they get on it and stomp on that thing, they pretty much engulf it. Now, a lot of times people have asked me when to set the hook on a frog. Do you let them take it down? A lot of times I'm watching and I'm seeing if the fish, when it comes up, if it has a chance to turn and go down, that's what you kind of want just for a second. But a lot of times, instantaneously, I could just set the hook and catch the fish. Because this frog is it's almost like nothing's there when you're on the hooks. It's real soft right there. But it's still good enough to where you can, hard enough to where it doesn't get hung up on everything. I love that. Got that one. Oh, that's a good one too. He smashed it. Decent little fish. He looked bigger from back there. But he's a good fish. Man, if you can get up there close enough to the bank, you'll catch some of these fish. Maybe we'll get a big female. These hooks are sharp. They get right in there. Look at that. It is so much fun to watch these fish hit. He stuck to my glove. Get in there. Man. If you make the proper cast, you get right in there, right up there shallow, where they're up there, like right here. There's a lot of wood in here, but you can see there's some bare bank here. So there's some fish up there shallow. It's just a matter of getting up there where they're at. You know? Get that frog up in there in that junk and take a couple pops. But it seems like the areas that I'm catching these fish out of have a little bit of flat coming out on them. I went to the deeper stuff and didn't get really any bites on it. And I came to this shallower flat stuff and he just bit. So that's a good sign right there. I was wondering if they quit biting there for a minute, but man, they were eating that thing. I know I was just in the wrong spot. You know, a lot of times when you're not getting bit after getting a couple of real good bites, or you just got to figure out, here's the deal, you got to figure out where you get those bites from. Look at the rock and the area that you're in. All this looks great, but there's certain areas that have little flats that come out on them, like this does, where you can see where it's coming out a little bit, to where you can hit the same kind of stuff. It might be deeper in some areas. You get into that deeper stuff, they don't seem to be there. So if you can find the flat stuff coming out and you can see it, that's usually where they're at. It's getting a little heavy now. You know, when your frog gets a little bit heavy and it starts to want to dive down like this, a lot of times what's happening is it gets waterlogged. It gets a little water in it. You just pick it up, squeeze that water out, just like that, okay? And you're ready to go again. It'll stay back up floating. A lot of times what happens when you're pulling it, it gets a little bit of water in it. So every once in a while, you just gotta mush the water out and you're ready to go again. It'll cast good when you got a lot of water in it, but it'll want to sink on you a little bit. So when it starts doing that, you want to make sure that you get that water out of there. The other thing that's really important with these frogs is you're going to be fishing a lot of stuff like what we're fishing in here. And a lot of times you'll overcast. You know, you're trying to get to a spot and you overcast. You're throwing braid line, you got a frog that's pretty much weedless. The biggest mistake you can ever make when you go over a tree is to automatically yank real quick like, oh, I casted too far. Because what happens is the frog or even the bait that you're throwing will wrap around a limb and then you are snagged. You're better off throwing it out there, letting it fall down and easing it through the tree versus having it wrap. That way you don't have to go in after it because you're pretty much weedless. Got him. Oh, get out of that tree. Oh, I think I lost him. Oh, man. And that, oh no. Got it. That's what happens sometimes trying to get him out of this stuff. Oh, man. It's important to find a cadence that works, that these fish are hitting. Sometimes they want it a little bit faster, sometimes they want it a little bit slower. But this time of year, I like to start with just a couple of slow little twitches, nothing real hard. Try to make the bait almost walk back and forth just for a second and then sit there. They usually come up and just bust it. If you start seeing them chasing shad, things like that, you can actually move it a little bit quicker. Try to make it look like a frog the best you can when you're popping it across there, what a frog would normally do. See, I'm gonna overcast right there, but that's okay. I'm gonna let it sit right there in the water, see if something blasts it. Ah, got it! You see what I'm saying? Right there. Oh, and that was the perfect scenario of what I was trying to explain right there. I overcast it into the tree. My line was over the tree. I didn't jerk it real quick. I let it lay there a few times, twitched it a couple times, and boom, we caught him. Look at that. Got him good too. You know, these frogs are a lot of fun to throw, but remember when you're hitting your target, it doesn't matter whether you overthrow a little bit over some trees, because I'm telling you, a lot of times those fish are in those hard to get areas, and that's what makes these things so much fun to throw, is they're weedless and you can get them in those areas that you can't get a normal bait, you know? So it works really good that way. That was a perfect example. He blasted on that thing. I had it real close to the tree, and sometimes, now remember that as the sun comes up, these things will still work really good. Actually, sometimes they even get better because you throw them up in the junk. These fish are gonna bury up in the cover a little bit more. Open water's fun, but the reality is he was sitting right up underneath the shade of that tree and came out and busted it. They're gonna hide out under those trees. The other thing that's really important too, when you're fishing, always be aware of your surroundings. I'm seeing tons of these little dragonflies running around through here. Now, when you start seeing fish next to a tree busting up, a lot of times they're busting up after these dragonflies. When they start doing that, topwater is usually pretty good, you know? So that's something to always watch for when you're out here fishing, is watch for them dragonflies to get busted, because man, those fish, especially with a little bit clearer water like this, will see them and come up and grab them. A lot of times I'll throw it out there, let those rings disappear just a little bit, and just kind of walk it, just like it's alive, trying to just scoot across the water. Oh, one just tried to bite it right there. He wasn't very ferocious on it, that's for sure. But there was one there. Normally I'd throw in there with a Senko after that, probably catch that fish. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it out just for that 1-2 punch if that happens again. It's always, always good to have that 1-2 punch ready to go. You know, one thing that's really cool about frog fishing, and one thing that's really important to remember, is a lot of people will come down the bank and they'll throw at the trees, beside the trees, all that. I've caught quite a few of them behind the trees. And what I mean by that is position your boat in a fashion where you can actually toss behind the tree, or toss behind, like, see all these trees we have here, where I can make a long cast or something to that effect to be able to toss back behind the tree. Because a lot of times behind there is all untouched water. A lot of guys can't get back there and they won't toss back there, they're afraid to get hung up. So you can actually take your frog and put it back there in the areas where fishermen normally don't fish. And those are the places where a lot of times you're gonna get your strikes. That's what's so cool about having a weedless bait on. You can toss it over this stuff, and then look, we're gonna come right over the tree. Once I'm done, just pull it right over the tree and then go to the next one. That's what's so cool about this kind of fishing. I'm telling you, you gotta get behind these trees, you'll catch a lot more fish. Saw the bass come up and look at my frog. I saw this fish come up, look at my frog. Come on, buddy. Caught him on a Senko. That little 1-2 punch. Oh my goodness, he's been caught before. Must have been back when you was spawning or something, buddy. My goodness. I saw that fish actually come up and look at my frog and go back down. And that's when I was like, oh, really? I'll throw my little Cinco out there and get him. And that's what I did. He got my Cinco, but I got the fish. That 1-2 punch works, folks. I'm telling you, you gotta learn to do it. You know, we all want to catch fish on one bait all day long. It's fun, but you gotta have the 1-2 punch really ready to go, because you're gonna have fish that come up and look at it, fish that swirl on it, fish that you missed, fish that look at it. You want to make sure that you got something there for them when they're interested. You don't leave fish to find fish. Got him that time. Oh my goodness, I knew it. That's what I'm talking about, son. All right, you're done. Oh my goodness. Now he ate that thing. It's that the hooks are way back there. He ate it. Oh, I love it when they do that. Beautiful fish. Woo! Look, I'll pop the frog back out. We'll be right back to business. I missed that fish originally. He came up and just swiped at it. He really didn't get it. So I threw to the right side, popped it a few times, and I threw to the left, and that's where I caught him. But green trees out here, just about anywhere you can throw out here and get bit. These fish are here. Blitz lures definitely hit a home run with this particular bait. It's a lot of fun to throw. What's great is even in open water, you just got a popper, you know? It's awesome. So you can work it back. It's just a lot of fun to throw. And they make the buzz frog, and they make regular frogs. You know, they're awesome, awesome frogs. But the little popping frog today is great. The reason, like I said, I went with the chartreuse on the side there is when I'm walking it, just something with a little chartreuse in it, represent the bluegill. I'm really not thinking they're feeding on shad too much in here. I haven't seen any shad runs or anything. And during the spawn, they don't like bluegill around their nests. So that's one of the reasons I'm throwing it. Plus it's a little froggy. I love that. Come midsummer, I'll be throwing a white one during the day. I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of fun playing around with that poppin' frog made by Blitz Lures. Don't forget they make the buzz frog and they also make the regular frogs as well. But that poppin' frog today was the ticket. And you know, just to have a little fun out here. As the summer kicks in and the days get hotter, these fish you'll find these fish up under the mats underneath all this stuff, and you'll be able to throw it right on top and catch those fish. You'll have a lot of fun frogging. Get out and try it, and I'll tell you what, you're gonna have a lot of fun. We'll see you next week. I'm Johnny Johnson. Now, see, that's what I'm talking about, folks.